To me, at 13, not knowing what cycling was, the milk race was the biggest thing in the world. And Chris won that. And then I watched this 21-year-old American, in awe of this 21-year-old American, winning the World Championships in Oslo. He was Lance Armstrong. I can't change the fact that Lance Armstrong won that, you know? So, from that point on, I was effing cessed with cycling, right? Sorry, I know there's a kid there.
I imagine they've heard that word before.
And well, my kids definitely have.
Yeah.
And so that was it. I was deciding what I want to do. I'm 13. I'm in year 8 at school, year 9, whatever it is, and I want to be a professional cyclist. I want to get out of Kilburn. I don't want to work in Ladbrokes. I don't want to become a milkman. I don't want to be on the rock and roll with my older brother going to sign on every week. So I'm going out. Whenever I go out the door, I'm pretending to be Lance Armstrong or whatever, or Miguel Indurain or Johan Risseo or another guy who's down there, Björn Rees, who was there. And so I'm not thinking at that age, well, you know, in 18 years' time, this guy's going to be the biggest fraud in cycling. I'm not thinking that. No. I'm just thinking, how the hell do I get out of Kilburn and make something of myself?
Even doesn't matter how much you know the course, you don't know it until you race on it. So we normally use the under-23 race as a gauge of what's going to happen. So the day before, I think it was on the Friday actually, the race is on the Sunday, we're watching the under-23 race, and me and Cav we're in our beds next to each other watching the race, and it's by the last lap it's turning into a sprint, and we're both kind of moving. By the end of it, we're sitting on the end of our edges of our bed, and it's a sprint, and it ends up being a bunch sprint, and Mark just jumps up. He's like, "Fucking hell, I'm gonna win." And I remember that vividly, and I was like, "You crazy bastard."
It's a great way of the women's team accessing, in our situation, accessing the resources and the infrastructure that is already part of a men's World Tour team. There are definite benefits to it, but you know, I've also been in Boels-Dolmans, which was the best team in the world, and a standalone women's team. So both models work, but I think there is a responsibility potentially of a men's team. I think that the responsibility could be pushed on them to have a women's team alongside it.
For me, he's the greatest, you know, and he's up there with Muhammad Ali, Bobby Moore, Pelé, people of that ilk, you know. And I've just been struggling all day to not lick his face. You know?
From your point of view, Coryn, I mean, you race for Somewhere. There's a men's team as well. Does that make any sort of difference? Is there much overlap between the women's and men's teams, or are they still kept sort of separate, and the only thing that links you is the sponsor?
No, I think we're very much one team. I think, yeah, our team meetings are together, you know, preparing for the next year, and also a lot of our team camps are together as well. And you know, in certain races like Amstel Gold, where we're both there, you know, we're in the same hotel and in the same kind of, you know, team area. So, and sometimes we even use each other's buses. So we have a bus at the start and then a bus at the finish.
You've got to be careful of the timing of going on the
Absolutely,
men's bus.
yeah. We're very mindful of that. But yeah, I think we're very much one team, and it's a really cool environment, and it kind of adds another dimension to our team, and almost like a family feel, and we're kind of supporting each other in each other's races.
I won the 5 monuments. There are only 3 riders, Merckx, I, and Henrik van Looy.
But of all of those, each of those wins, which day stands out for you?
San Remo is for me the most beautiful.
Even though you're Mr. Paris-Roubaix?
Yeah, it's in France, and I don't like France.
Spoken like a true Belgian.
And most of the kids I knocked around with as a kid dreamt of lifting the FA Cup for Spurs or whatever in the area we grew up in. And I dreamt of winning, well, not winning actually, because I never actually thought I could win the Tour, but taking the yellow jersey in the Tour de France and winning an Olympic gold. And I told my art teacher when I was 12, Miss Kennett, I was peeing around in class one day, and she said, "What are you going to do with your life, Brad? You're going to have to get your head down." And I said, "I want to wear the yellow jersey in the Tour, and I want to win Olympic gold." And she laughed at me. I'll never forget her laugh. Stupid old bat. And she...